Carnival. Prudence ran through the lobby towards the open door. There was danger in the room. She felt it, but she didn't know what it was, or from where it was coming. What she was sure of was that if she didn't get out of the building she would die. She could see the outside world through a tall wall of glass. As she ran, she felt herself getting weaker and weaker. She willed herself to get to the exit. She was almost there when she felt herself sinking to the floor. The door was just beyond her fingertips. She strained towards it. Bit by bit she began the journey into darkness. Before she slipped inside, she heard something like the clap of thunder, again and again. She tried to move. Something was rocking her backward and forward. A voice was tearing away the fog that cocooned her. The rocking was insistent and the voice, she knew that voice. A splash of something cold hit her face. The weights on her eyelids fell and she sprang up in bed to see Lola standing over her, an empty glass in her hand. "Sorry, Aunt Prudence, but you never wake up. Come. We are to go, now." "What the hell you do that for?" Prudence raged at Lola. "A woman can't sleep in her own bed in peace. I going to." Before she could say what she planned to do about being doused with water in her own bed, Lola said, "Aunt Constance. She done mad. Come. We have to go stop her." Before Lola was finished speaking, Prudence was out of bed. "What happened to Constance, now? What'd she do?" While she talked, she slipped her feet into her slippers and rummaged among the clothing that she'd dumped into the chair beside the bed. Lola said, handing her glasses, before running from the room. Prudence struggled to hang the chain of her glasses around her neck and did her best to keep up with Lola. She was still adjusting her glasses across her chest when she reached the flight of stairs. "Blasted stairs," she hissed, as she always did when she had to descend them in a hurry. "Yori, Aunt Prudence," Lola called. "What she think I am doing?" Prudence muttered, as she reached the bottom step. When she reached the veranda, Lola was waiting for her at the gate outside. "Look," she said, pointing downhill. Prudence joined her in the yard. On the road below, she saw the outlines of people. "Aunt Constance down there," Lola said. "Doing what?" Prudence asked. "Come see," Lola said and jogged down the steps. Prudence stood on the top step, her eyes flitting from Lola's jogging form to the shadowy forms below. To the left and right of the steps, the land studded with trees, sloped down to the road. She peered between the trees to see bits of color along the green hedges that bordered the road on both sides. She didn't see Constance, but she heard her and the shouts, laughter and screams of the people. She saw shadowy forms running up and down the road. After a minute or so, they all hurried back to their positions. Prudence raised her glasses to her eyes and held them in place. Somebody, who looked like Constance, stood between the two groups. She descended the stairs, counting them as she went, and never letting go of the railing. She felt the eyes of the people on her. She pursed her lips. Lola was waiting for her, jumping around and urging her to hurry. "You see," she said, pointing down the road. Constance stood in the middle of the road. On her head was a white bundle which she clutched with her right hand, and in her left hand, she clutched a stone. "Go home, Miss Constance," old and young chanted. They shooed her back like she was a cow that had escaped from its pasture. "Get out of my way," Constance screamed at them. When they didn't move, she pelted them with stones. Each time she reached for a stone, they took cover down the street and Constance advanced a few steps. "Come back, Miss Constance," the people close to Prudence shouted. Constance didn't look behind her. Prudence listened to the crowd chanting at Constance and watched as she wrestled stones from the damp embankment and sailed them at the people ahead of her. "Cousin Prudence, you really are it, now," Rose said. Prudence ignored her. "Talk to her, Aunt Prudence. She will listen to you," Lola urged her. "Yes, Miss Prudence, go talk to Constance. She will listen to you, Miss Prudence." Prudence felt trapped by the voices assailing her from all sides. What should she say to Constance? Constance, who used to be so careful about her appearance before she left the house, stood in front of her in her stained White House dress and wearing a pair of mismatched flip-flops. Constance would never have left the house like that if she was sober. Prudence took a few steps down the road. "Constance," she called. Constance didn't seem to hear her, or if she heard her, she ignored her. "What we going to do, Aunt Prudence?" Lola asked, trailing a step behind her. Prudence turned and stared at her. Lola averted her eyes. "Sorry, Aunt Prudence," she muttered. Prudence surveyed the crowd that had gathered. She would keep what she wanted to say to Lola until they reached home. Lola should have been watching Constance. Nothing but those blasted movies. What was so hard about sitting and keeping Constance in her sight? Constance, who had taken a break from pelting the people in front of her with stones and was swearing up a storm. The chants had ceased and everybody behind her and before her followed her with their eyes. "You mad, Aunt Prudence?" Lola whispered. "You don't see that Aunt Constance done mad? You and all these people said I should go talk to her." "That is what I going to do," Prudence said. "You don't have to listen to us," Lola said. She grabbed Prudence's arm. "Stay far and talk to her," she begged. "Look at the big stone in her and..." Prudence walked on. She heard Lola praying and whimpering as she walked behind her. She felt like turning and slapping some sense into her, but she kept her gaze on Constance's back. "Constance," she called again, when she was a few steps behind her. Constance turned to look at her. They stared at each other. Constance's chest rose and fell like she'd run a mile and was winded. Prudence had seen her angry many times before, but the anger that seeped out of her, then, had twisted her face into a mask of competing aggression and frustration, which gave way to confusion as she stared at Prudence. What could have transformed Constance since she'd gone upstairs to take a nap? Prudence wondered. She noticed that Constance's fingers tightened around the stone. She wouldn't hit her, would she? Prudence wasn't sure. "Constance, it is me, Prudence," she said. "Where you going?" "I just want to go to the river to wash my clothes," Constance finally said, "but they don't want me to pass." Prudence frowned. "You forgot to take the washpan," she said. "Come, home with me. Tomorrow, we can go to the river." Constance hesitated. She glared at the crowd in front of her. "You forgot to take the washpan," she said. "Come, home with me. Tomorrow, we can go to the river." Constance hesitated. She glared at the crowd in front of her. "Let's go home," Prudence said, pointing to the house on the side of the hill. Constance turned and glanced up the road, then at Prudence. "Come," Prudence said, and grabbed the arm in which she clutched the stone. Constance allowed Prudence to steer her home. The crowd parted to allow them through. Prudence stared at Constance as they walked. "You all right?" she asked her. Constance said, and stared straight ahead. "She thinking about her life," Lola whispered, smiling. Prudence rolled her eyes. "You must tired and hungry from throwing all those stones," she muttered, as they filed up the steps. "Make a jackass out of yourself before the whole community." That night, after Prudence had tucked Constance into bed, she took up the Bible that lay on the night table. When she opened it, a few bookmarkers fell. She retrieved them from the rug and shuddered. Her parents smiled at her from the memorial bookmarkers that came with their funeral programs. She stuck them back at random places in the Bible and returned it to the night table.